You wake up and your cheeks are throbbing. And I'm not talking about these ones from smiling. I'm talking about because they just got clapped. That's what this man was doing, and he got away with it. I don't know what's happening. People are getting paid off. People's pockets are full. This guy's a billionaire. So you can only imagine the connections and power someone like Diddy Combs has, right? Because did this guy try to off Kid Cudi? Like blew up Kid Cudi's car, allegedly? Isn't that a thing? So he was denied bail after a jury found him guilty of 2 of the counts, like I said, which was transportation to engage in prostitution. He was playing Uber driver for the prostitutes. And then he probably turned his seat back, or laid it back, and propped his head like this, and watched them cause a ruckus in the back seat. That's what he got charged with, for being an Uber driver. The judge cited Combs' history of violence and past illegal conduct while explaining why he was declined to release Combs as he awaits sentencing. While Combs was acquitted of most of the serious charges, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, which I don't know how he got off of that. We'll never know. We'll never know. He is still facing up to 20 years in prison, since the maximum sentence for each of the transportation counts is 10 years. There will be a hearing next week to address the scheduling of Combs' sentencing. Wow. 20 years on the high end, and then 10 years on the low end? Maximum, I don't know. He's not doing 20 years, though. He's not. He won't do that. And not only that, he's going to be so well protected probably. They'll probably have him in protective custody because he's not going to be Diddy in jail. He's going to be Sean Combs. Prosecutors accused Combs of leading a criminal enterprise made of some of his closest employees, allegedly using threats and violence to force Cassie Ventura and another woman, Jane, to engage in drug-fueled sex acts with male escorts. Combs' lawyer argued the sex acts were consensual and merely preferences. They insisted to be drugged up and have some sloppy sex. They insisted, Your Honor. Client's not guilty. What are you talking about? This guy's insane. This guy needs to be in the cushion room because he's so used to taking cushion and cheeks. They need to wrap him up in a straitjacket. Supposedly he fell to his knees. When the judge denied bail, Sean Diddy Combs' mouth dropped and his eyes widened. This is a fucking story, dude. Judge confirms bail is denied and sets hearing on sentencing scheduled for next week. Judge Aaron Sabrimian again confirmed that Sean Diddy Combs' bail was denied. He scheduled a remote hearing for next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to address the sentencing scheduling. The judge is off the bench of court and is done for the day. People are still going to applaud this judge, but man, I think he did a bad job. You had so much like real-time evidence in front of your face, and this still wasn't enough to like throw this guy away and the keys. It wasn't enough to throw the keys away. It was enough to put them on the top shelf where they can just be easily reached back down and then, you know. So this is kind of weird. Prosecutor Combs is an extremely violent man with an extraordinary dangerous temper. Yeah, he's a high temperature of getting cheeks and baking them. If that makes sense. Judge to defense attorney. You full-throatedly, why are we using these words in front of Diddy? Like, oh, you full-throatedly told the jury that there was violence. What are we using? The court doesn't have enough information to skip pre-sentencing investigation. Dude, I don't know how there was like a lack of information and evidence in this case at all. You can go back to the fucking 90s and just see how uncomfortable people were just being around this guy, being in the vicinity. People were like literally melting out of their skin just being in the same room with this guy. Anytime you see someone talking to this motherfucker, They just look so uncomfortable. They don't want to be around him. They're confused of why he's not already locked up. Complex nature of Combs' relationships is likely what the jury got hung up on. Legal expert says the case of Sean Diddy Combs was a very complex, and it's possible the jury got hung up on certain criteria in determining racketeering and conspiracy and sex trafficking charges. Elliot Williams, former deputy assistant attorney general, said, dude, how is there lack of evidence anywhere? Like anywhere. This is weird. This is so strange, dude. This guy's going to celebrate with another badass, top-of-the-line Diddy party like no one's ever seen before. Fuck it. See-through clothes. No more white fits. Everything's see-through. This is a Freako is not... what does that say? I don't even know. Bro, Diddy's... What is like the... Each mandatory minimum? Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't know this. Hold on. Diddy Combs is facing the possibility of life in prison, convicted of the charges against him. Most serious one, yeah, we all know. Oh, we didn't know that. He also faces 2 counts of sex trafficking, each with a mandatory minimum of 15 years. Okay, so that is a mandatory minimum. I wonder if the minimum, like he has to do 10 or 15. I'm not sure. He's fell to his knees. Can we get a video of him falling to his knees? Do we have him falling to his knees? Chat? Knees. Chat? Any knees?
Would implement any other type of conditions. The prosecution then got up and said, I want to give you a couple of quotes from the prosecution because they were very passionate about this. The prosecution got up and looked at the judge and said, Judge, the only thing about this man that is exceptional is, quote, his wealth, violence, and brazenness. He has shown no remorse, and there is no basis to release him on bail.
Oh my gosh.
And the judge agreed. So he is going to remain in prison behind bars until he is
I think that's crazy.
sentenced.
That's just
now, right
because
now,
for
as
the
you
bail.
were talking
Like,
at the
what,
top,
like,
Sharon,
why weren't we?
The judge originally scheduled that for
why
October
weren't we
3rd.
stern on putting this guy away for everything else that he did? Everything else that he did. This guy is a monster. He's a criminal. He's a psychopath.